Hi, everyone. It's Sunday night. You know what that means. It's Region Weather Live time. We have a whole week to talk about, and we'll go beyond that as well, as we always like to look long range around here. And sometimes long range is where we find changes in the forecasts. Sometimes winter shows up in the long range. We're approaching February, for Pete's sake. I know a lot of you are okay with the mild weather that we've had. I know a lot of you that are snowplow drivers or make some money this time of year off of some snow, ski resorts, maybe you have a new snowmobile, snowblower, whatever it happens to be. If you just want to use that thing, where has winter been? That's what we're going to be searching for in this, and we have found it in the long range forecast. So we'll detail kind of how that affects us here in Northwest Indiana over the coming 10, 15-day range, somewhere around there, okay? So lots to talk about. I hope you had a nice weekend. We're going to run our intro, and then we'll dive into things here on this Sunday evening edition of Region Weather Live. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing okay? Do you have a nice weekend? I know it's, beyond holiday season now, so we all get to kind of settle down a little bit and actually just kind of relax for a little while. And the weather's certainly kind of done that for us, where it's not too cold to not go outside, but it's also still winter. So it's like if you're not into outdoor sports, whatever happens to be this time of year, I'm sure you're settled into your home and you had a nice weekend. Good evening to you, Gail. Hi, Jeff. Bring on the snow, he says. And hello to you. Thanks for joining us here on this Sunday night. Let's get right into it. You see our sponsors right down there. Guys, please take care of them. I know a lot of you have, and I so appreciate that. I know they do as well. A couple shout outs here. Ewing Mechanical Services. You may notice their new logo. They have a new website as well. It's Ewing MECH for mechanical. It's ewingmech.com. Again, they are HVAC service you can trust. So if anything goes wrong with your furnace, with anything heating or cooling related, give them a call or head to their website. Wonderful family-owned business there as well. We also have Tiger Plumbing. Pipes are important every time of the year, but especially when it gets cold outside, we tend to have some problems. And you know who to go to. Tigerplumbing.net is the place to go to. They're wonderful. They come out for free. They don't charge you just to come out and analyze the problem. I don't know anyone else that does that. And they'll give you fair prices as well and great service. It's tigerplumbing.net. And then if you're looking like me just to get out of the cold for just a little bit, Discovery Travel. It's discoverytrvl.com. They are Northwest Indiana's regional and actually worldwide travel agency. They'll hook you up with anything you possibly need. Guys, don't do the legwork yourself on trips. Let them do it. They know the lowest prices, the lowest times to get fares for airlines and stuff like that. They're professionals at that. So let them handle it for you. They'll do as much of the trip or as little of the trip as you want. They'll even find destinations for you and give you itineraries, all that stuff. DiscoveryTRVL.com. They're also on Facebook. Finally, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, our favorite car dealership in Northwest Indiana. Jeeps are great to have this time here, but so are other cars with four-wheel drive. And they specialize in anything you could possibly need. They make car buying fun over at Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on US 3rd in Valparaiso. Let's get the forecast. Here we go. So in terms of this, where I'm a big picture thinker around here. I'm saying the snow in there. Matt says, or Chrissy says, hey, Matt, hard pass on the cold and the snow. I feel you. Hi there, Mary. Hi, Dad. Hi, Deb loves the weather for sure. So here we go. This is what we're dealing with in terms of big picture pattern across the country right now. I know it's a lot of pretty colors I'm throwing your way. I'm just going to kind of explain this. So the jet stream, where this go, so right here, right where our jet stream is this time of year, the active one, right? And you've noticed over the last couple of weeks, it's Southern California, Northern California. They've been getting hit hard. We've talked about that. But that's about to change. As we go through time, all the cold air is up here. If you get into the greens, that's some cold air as well. I mean, that towards north. So let's just take this briefly out over the next 15 days and see where we go with it, okay? Here's Monday into Tuesday. Not much change this week. But notice what happens out west. We start to get kind of these big ridges and troughs out west. there's not that clear stream of atmospheric moisture with the atmospheric river heading into California. And this will really break it up. And in fact, they're going to dry up out there, at least temporarily, at least for the next week or so. And they're going to have below average precipitation, which is great because they really need to dry out. Everything needs to go back into the rivers and streams where it belongs, fill up the reservoirs. That's what it's doing out there. But they need a break, and they're going to get one. But what's going to happen in the eastern half of the country? Remember last week we were talking about it. It's either usually the west or the east that are active, and the west has been stealing the show since late fall. They've had just such a season out there. We haven't had much at all in the eastern half of the country, and that includes us here in the upper Midwest or the Midwest, all the way up to the upper Midwest. It hasn't been much of a winter so far, although they have had more snow north of us, up towards Wisconsin and Minnesota. We really haven't had much from here out towards the east. Boston getting some of their first snow of the season. New York City hasn't had snow yet, DC, etc. Right? All the action's been out towards the west. What's going to happen? This is now up to Friday, this upcoming week. You'll notice what happens is we start to get this trough out in the western U.S., not off the Pacific Ocean, but western U.S. Whenever we get this pattern, this tends to lean itself to storm systems that can tap into Gulf of Mexico moisture and are stronger for the eastern half of the country. This is our storm setup, right? Because you tend to get these low pressures that form down here, the southern plains, and they track eastward. So they grab the Gulf of Mexico moisture. We tend to have some cold air in place. And these are the ones that tend to bring us accumulating snow here in Northwest Indiana. So we get into this pattern and we kind of hold there. Watch how this trough just kind of sits around. This is next Tuesday now. So we've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and even into Wednesday and Thursday, you'll notice, I mean, that's a pretty powerful low there. But you notice the trend, that stream pattern sets up southwest to northeast right through the eastern half of the country. And that will turn us more active around here. In terms of the real cold stuff coming down from Canada, it does look like there are some changes in the long range. We're talking 10 days and beyond, where we might flip the script where they develop more of this ridging out west, and that would open for cold air to come back in here, which is something we'd expect, right? Things do go back and forth this time of year. We're not always in the Arctic air. We're not always in this warm air. But more often than not this winter, we've been in this warmer side of things, all right? The teeter-totter has been flipped back towards the west pretty much all winter so far. And I do see that changing here as we get into the long range. So let's go in your short range first, get you started for your week. This is what you can expect. I know a lot of you off tomorrow. Some of you working tomorrow, no school tomorrow for the kiddos. So it's kind of a free day for them. But this is what we've got some rain moving in tomorrow. It's all with this system. This is really the first in the series of these storm systems as they start to carve out that trough and bring that pattern in. So you can see here on the satellite, nothing really that well organized. Area of low pressure down here towards Kansas. This isn't a particularly strong system. It'll bring us some rain and some wind as it gets going. It's going to start to organize a little bit better. But we've got really two main systems to watch this week. And by system, I mean low pressure. You got the cold front, the warm front, the whole entire system itself. This one will be the weaker of the two. We have a stronger one later this week that I think will be a little bit more impactful. But again, we're getting organization to this. This is what moves in tomorrow. So here we go as we go through time. Notice the isobars. It's been breezy this afternoon. It's really tough as this low gets cranking here. And during the day tomorrow, primarily midday onward, morning looks fairly dry. I think the rain moves in the latter half of the day. And you notice how we get some pretty decent showers in here. Could we have a rumble of thunder? It's certainly possible. Our temperatures aren't going to be crazy warm, but we'll be warm enough. May have some elevated, activity, some convection in here. May trigger a little bit of thunder. We'll see what happens. But this isn't going to be a big event, as I mentioned. Could get some heavier rain though. So tomorrow afternoon and evening looks kind of rainy. And notice how that heads out, and this whole system unravels towards our north, and we eventually kind of dry out. We'll stay a little murky around here on Tuesday as there'll be some scatter. But the point of this, as we look for winter in our Region Weather Live, everything stays off towards the north. So any snow with this system is not going to reach us with system number one. We have to go beyond that to look for any snow or any appreciable cold air. And again, that's in the long range, like we mentioned. So let's go to that. I'm going to keep this kind of zoomed out if that's okay. You know what? No, there's no point to that because you don't really need to know what's going on out west. So let's get a little bit closer here on this map. So I mentioned system number one is going to move in tomorrow. Tuesday, we deal with some leftover rain from that. And then we look forward to that next system later on this week, which arrives Wednesday into Thursday. So here's our Monday, Tuesday system. It goes by with that rain. We stay fairly mild behind it. We should be in the mid to upper 40s tomorrow. I think we'll get kicked back. Probably I have us in the mid 40s on Tuesday and then back to down near 40 on Wednesday. So there's no real cold hit with this, and that's why we don't see any snow. So we got 40s next 3 days. We'll probably be in the 40s again on Thursday. And then here comes our system. Here's Wednesday night into Thursday. The changes with this low was further west yesterday and on Friday as well. And it looked to bring us a push of warmer air. What's happened is the lows sank a little bit down to the south. So the snow with this one, this is our stronger system later this week. The snow with this one's not far off. So could we see some shifts in the pattern and we stay locked into the colder air? I don't think so at this point, but it's certainly something to watch. So the euro sunk a little bit further south with this. We have a southeast wind will develop late Wednesday. It develops perhaps some decent snow in northern Illinois. For us, we may have some flakes mixed in initially, but it should be all rain with this. I really am feeling that. And then the low comes up right over northwest Indiana. This is during the night Wednesday into Thursday. It brings us a pretty good area of rain, maybe some rumbles with that Wednesday night. And then eventually that low heads north. But what happens with this one is you get the heavy snow north of here, but it wraps in some colder air. So this is going to introduce that colder air back into the region as it heads east. And we're talking Thursday into Friday. Might have some flakes around here. We'll likely have some lake effect ongoing. Probably LaPorte County up into Berrien County. Doesn't look to be a bad. But the takeaway from this, by Thursday night and Friday of this week, we're back into that cold air. It's back down in here again. And then with laying the train tracks, so to speak, with the cold air in place, it does look like we get that active pattern that I showed you at the beginning of the broadcast, where we're bringing systems in from the south, and those have a better chance of producing some snow, and we could get some good snow off of those, which, again, we're in January. You'd expect that, right? So the Euro shows a sign of that. I'll show you the GFS as well. Remember, we've got cold air in place. This is next Friday. We're now into Saturday next week. We're now into Sunday of next week. And you notice there's a system down to the south. There's heavy snow. It's south of us, all right? So that one may not affect us, although I'll show you the GFS. And then Monday, Tuesday, there's yet another system coming in. And you see how that one tries to get organized here with perhaps some snow. But bottom line, the trend is there where everything is further south. We've got cold air in place. And as we get into next weekend, so a week from now, and then we're talking the 10, 15-day range, our systems should be producing snow rather than the rain that we've been seeing. And the West will be getting a break as well. So what I want to do here is go back to the GFS. This is the American model. And again, GFS hasn't been doing that well. It's not really, I never really enjoy the GFS. We look at it because it's, it obviously is another computer model solution taking all these numbers and data and algorithms in there, and it spits out what it thinks is going to happen. So we look at it to see if it agrees with the Euro or the ensemble models, which are all of them, all the different runs that each model does. And we look for that for guidance, right? But it's not always truth. And I always want to precursor that when we look at the GFS. But sometimes it's right. So there's that. So here's your Thursday, Friday system. You notice same result. We're mainly rain with that. We get a little snow on the backside of it. We're colder, okay? So watch how this evolves the systems a week from now. And again, this will change, but this shows patterns, okay? So by next Saturday and Sunday, remember the Euro had that system down in Tennessee and down in Kentucky with the snow. The GFS brings it a little bit further north. So that brings some rain snow mix in here. But then that brings more cold air in. It has another system a couple days later that looks more impressive. You just get these big chunks of moisture in here. And again, being on the cold side, we could get some snow out of that. I think I fast forwarded too much. So this is the one I wanted to look at. Again, this is just a grain of salt. We're looking for pattern recognition at this point. But this is the kind of pattern that we're going to get into that could bring us some big snows, where you get a low pressure to our south. This is an example, the GFS saying the 25th and 26th of January might have something around here. And again, that timing will change, but it's the pattern that we're recognizing here. And that puts out some really good snow from that. Then there's another one right behind that. I think the 29th and 30th, somewhere in here. Well, maybe not. Yeah, this one right here. This is the 31st. Has another system in here where we're all snow. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at pattern-wise. As always, we're going to open it up to your questions, anything you want to know here weather-wise. But in summary, we're going to get some rain tomorrow. We're going to have a mild start to the week. We're talking 40s tomorrow, 40s Tuesday, 40s Wednesday, probably 40 Wednesday, 40s on Thursday. And we bring in that system Wednesday night, Thursday. Should be mainly rain. We'll have to watch for the track of that. We may get some snow out of that if it shifts south. I don't see that right now, but it could happen. And then by next weekend, that's when things change. We get some colder air in here, not bitterly cold, but colder, cold enough to produce snow. And then we're talking any system after that next week does look to be more of a snowmaker rather than a rainmaker. And we're in a pattern that's going to bring successive storm systems in every 2 to 3 days, as it looks right now, in the long range. And again, some of those could produce some snow. Okay. All right. So that's what we've got here. Let's answer your questions as always. And we'll go from there. Okay. Yeah. Rob says on our YouTube channel, it's sad that California is killing us in snowfall numbers. It's unbelievable out there. Obviously they had a drought they had to get rid of. It's not gone yet, technically, because a lot of this has to seep into not just the reservoirs, but the ground table in general has to soak that stuff in. It doesn't all go in overnight. But some of these numbers, man, I think it was University of California, Berkeley has a snow lab up in the mountains, and they've clocked in over, I think it was 380 inches so far this season. I know Mammoth Mountain has a base, big ski resort out there, has a base anywhere from 180 to over 200 inches of snow. That's the base. That's what people are skiing on. Unbelievable out there. But, we're killing parts of the Northeast, like New York City hasn't seen any snow yet this year, which isn't entirely unusual. They've done it later before, but it's getting to the point where, we need to flip this pattern around a little bit. Christopher says, Hum Skilling seems to give predictions and the weather seems to listen to him. I believe you have the same powers. Tell us no snow and it'll happen. Christopher, I wish it worked that way. Tom probably has that. I mean, Tom has that ability. We all know that for sure. We'll see. Let's see. Hello from Lafayette. Always watched you when you were in Maryville. You were spot on with your weather. Oh, I appreciate that very much. I remember you from my good old days at Lakeshore Public Television. I appreciate that. So funny comments on here. Gail, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. Susan doesn't like January 25th. I don't. How are you guys feeling? Just let me get a temperature check in the room, because I'm so conscious of. First of all, let me ask you this, and feel free to comment on here. Are you happy with the way winter's going? I mean, is this something you like? Do people like 40s? Is this a January to remember? The more days we get by without snow and cold, is that a good thing? I'm so conscious of those with jobs in snow removal that are banking on this to put money on their, money in their pocket and food on their table. And I know there's a lot of people that do that, and it's their primary job. And so I'm very conscious of that they may not be loving this so much. Not everyone's happy about the fact that we're not getting snow. So, but I'm sure most of us who aren't in snow removal, do enjoy it for sure. Okay, Diane's very happy. Appreciate that, Diane. Lisa says yes. Let's see. Lisa says yes. Russ says, I'm loving the no snow, even though I plow snow. It's nice not to have things break. Yeah, that makes sense. I get it, Russ. I appreciate your feedback there. Jeff's not happy. Vince really wants the snow. Rob misses the cold or cooler temperatures. There's Vince's comment, loves winter. And I don't want a huge snow. Yeah, Caitlin's a teacher. I'm getting a lot of teacher comments. I get them every day on Facebook. It's crazy. Yeah. Russ says money part hurts, but being with family is nice for sure. Anna's very ecstatic about it. I'm so over snow. Anna's going to move somewhere warm. Anna, the older I get, I know I'm sure this happens to everyone. The older I get, man, when it snows, I'm just like, it's nice for a little bit, but it lasts. And here's something interesting, guys. Climate wise and kind of where we seem to be headed, at least in the short term. It seems that, and I'm sure some of you can agree with me, and there's some research to back this up, that things have kind of shifted a little bit. And who knows how long this will last? Maybe we'll shift back, next couple of years. But things have shifted where our November and December, we haven't really had bad Novembers and Decembers. It seems like winter is starting later, but it's lingering longer into spring, where our March and Aprils are on the cold side and we can still get decent storms. We've always been able to get snow then, but it just seems like that cold has been lingering in the spring, which drives me nuts because I'm ready to get outside. I've got a green thumb. I'm ready to get outside and plant and do stuff. And it's day after day of 30s and 40s when it could be 70s, So I don't know if you guys have noticed that. That's a trend that I've noticed. And there is some research, again, to kind of back that up across our portion of the country specifically, that we've tended to have these colder Marches and Aprils over the last couple of years, where the coldest lingers. And then we have this real mild start to the winter with not a lot of snow. So I guess my point is, let's not let our guard down on this winter yet, right? We have a long way to go. And it just takes a couple snowstorms to get in here and an Arctic shot where we're like, oh, this is a bad winter. And we forget how December and January have gone. All right. So don't let your guard down on it. I'm seeing nothing that says this pattern is going to continue. If anything, it does look like we turn colder latter half of the month into early February. So we'll see. I know. Eric, am I cutting out again? Our internet is blazing fast. The problem is, again, we moved into this new house, and it's an old house. It's like 1900, and it's compartmentalized. I'm so far from the router right now, and I've got these extenders, and these extenders just choose to go in and out. So we've thought about moving my office upstairs, but my wife's an interior designer, and there's not room for that. She has everything planned out. So we have other rooms up there. But anyway, so if this is cutting out, I'm so sorry. I may get our internet provider out here to get something that actually works down here. But yeah, sorry. That's so annoying. I hate things that don't work properly, and I can't stand watching videos that don't work properly. So I'm sorry. I know how that feels. Yeah, Anna agrees with that, and sure, in terms of the winters going later. So that's that. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, guys, Sunday night, I'll let you go. I appreciate you joining me. Again, just in summary, for those that just joined, we'll give you a quick summary. Tomorrow, again, a lot of you off. I know it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, no school, a lot of stuff's closed. We're going to have some rain that moves in. It's going to be pretty rainy afternoon and evening. We're going to be in the 40s tomorrow. It's going to be nice and mild. Tuesday, we're still in the 40s with lingering showers. Wednesday looks mainly dry. We'll really thicken up the clouds and bring some rain in late Wednesday. That's our second system to watch this week. I think that one will be a little bit more potent than this first one. We'll get some pretty decent rain Wednesday night into Thursday. It turns colder on the backside of that for Friday and the weekend. Not a lot of snow at all this week. All right, we'll keep our eye on that Thursday system, but not a lot of snow. And then next week is kind of where we set it up, where we bring this colder air in this weekend, and then these systems start tracking down to our south. And it looks like we could get one, maybe two snow makers next week, depending on where they go. But it's a much more active and conducive pattern to snow next week than certainly what we're dealing with over the last couple weeks and this week, okay? All right, Chuck's on Team Snow. He said, let's go snow. All right, very good. Susan, I'm glad you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. Again, that's my point, is to do this for you so you know what's coming up this week. And we can get a little bit longer range too, so you can kind of see the patterns in the weather. It's always fun to geek out, and I always appreciate you guys joining me. All right, guys, enjoy your night. We'll be back with you as we go throughout the week on our network of radio stations in Northwest Indiana, also on regionweather.com. All right.